Hey everybody! In this video, I wanted to show y'all how I made this pendant. So let's get started. So to make this pendant, I'm going to be using a 12mm Botswana agate bead, a variety of 6mm silver beads. These two have like a 2mm hole, and then this one has a 3mm hole on it. And then these are little 1mm, like 1.5mm beads. No, actually, sorry, they're 2mm beads, but they have 1.5mm holes, so they're very small, but they will fit onto my 18 gauge parawire. This is silver plated copper core that's then covered in a silver toned enamel, so it's very durable. And then this one here too, you can see it's silver plated silver in 24 gauge, and this is what I'm going to be doing a lot of my wrapping with. And then I'm also going to be using, if I can dig it out, a small amount of 20 gauge. And you could use whatever color you like if you're following along with me. So I'm going to start by taking out about 4 inches of the wire. Again, for tools also, wire snips, round nose pliers, bent nose pliers, and nylon jaw pliers. Those are kind of my standard go-to. I don't leave home without them. So, let's see. Yeah, it's about 3.5 inches. I could have given myself a little bit more, but this should be okay. Of the 18 gauge. And then I'm going to pull off about a yard of the, ooh, you know, I don't even know if I need that much, but anything that I have left over, I'll be able to use for other projects, like for making earrings or bead links or something. So I never mind, especially with the less expensive copper core wire, I never mind giving myself a little bit more than what I need. And so to start, I'm going to make a very small loop. As close to the tip of the pliers and as close to the tip of the wire as I can. And I'm just going to make a nice small, loop. Nice and tight, just like that. I'm going to use this broader part of my pliers to kind of bend it down a little bit. And then what we're going to be doing is I'm going to take this piece that we had cut some off of, and thread on one of my smaller holed 6mm silver beads, my 12mm Botswana agate, there it goes, and my second smaller holed silver beads, so that it's positioned just like this. And then I'm going to thread on this wire. And now you can see the loops facing the back, so it's like wrapping around and coming over this way. And that's important because as we move this around to the other side, I don't want it behind the wire like this. I want it on top of the wire, emulating a pretty standard herringbone wrap. And now I'm going to kind of keep everything in place with my fingernails, and I'm just going to start bending this around. Let me bend this one down a little bit more. Okay. So yeah, just doing one rotation around, just like that. And then I'm going to come around on the other side, straightening this out with my fingers a bit. And this is our first rotation. Sorry. Just like that. And let me wrap around here as well, so that it comes around from on the top, wraps behind the wire, and then feeds out on the other side. So from here, I'm going to pull off some of my 20 gauge wire. In this one I'm doing a full arm span. Again, if it's too much, then I can just use it for something else. But if it's not enough, I'm going to have a heck of a time trying to splice something in. So, and I'm going to take this, and again I'm going to make just the tiniest little loop that I can. Kind of wish I had some round nose pliers that had an even smaller tip than these do. And I'm going to thread this onto the end of my 18 gauge wire and bring it down all the way to here, so you can kind of see how that works. And I'm going to thread on one of these small black beads that I have. You could use a 4mm gemstone, just whatever you like. And so now you can see how that's kind of sitting. And I'm going to do a herringbone wrap around this bead. So again, kind of struggling around with the wires a bit, but we'll get there. And I'm definitely going to be using my thumbnail to kind of force and shape this around. I'm going to come in with my bent nose pliers to deepen this just a bit. Bring those ends together. There we go. And so now you can see how it wrapped around to this side. And once you get it started, it's not so bad. It's just getting that first one started that came out pretty wonky. And I'm going to do 3 rotations. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off camera, but just struggling around with this wire. So it's sitting like that. Just around to the top. And now around on the other side. Just like that. And now I'm actually going to pull this down, smushed right up to where it started, to right there. And I'm going to bring this wire You know, I actually think I'm just going to cut it off. That'll be a lot easier in the long run. So I'm just going to snip it right there. Drape that wire over my leg so I don't lose it. And use my bent nose pliers to smush down till it's nice and flush that little point right there that it would have made. So there's one. My fingers hurt already. And this is, if you wanted to, we could go through and wrap this with the 24 gauge. And I just think I might do that because that came out a lot messier than I would have liked. And again, I didn't waste this wire. I experimented with it, decided against it. And I'm actually just going to wrap it right up like that. And then I have a binder clip right here that I'm just going to take and I clip it down like that. And now this is ready to be used on a different project. So this one that we had just done, I'm actually going to snip the wire, slide this off the end. Oh no, I can't. Sneak right there. Okay. Press that down flush. And so here we've done one layer then of the herringbone, and it's just sitting there like that. Well, there went my cell phone. Sorry guys, I'm all thumbs today. But I do think that it just encapsulates the struggle that is very real for all of us as crafty people, is that sometimes gravity's just out to get you. It really does seem that way. Okay, so I've made another loop and I've rounded it down a bit to slide right where we left off. That looks pretty good. And now before sliding this on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring out a length of this 24 gauge. I am going to do an arm span. I'm going to take some of that spooled roundness out of the wire. And from here, I'm going to hold this and wrap it twice around. Let's go 3 times. There we are. And I'm just going to snip a bit. Snip that tail off. Use my bent nose pliers to kind of smush that down and around. Press that up flush with my fingernails. And then I can actually push that just as much as I can towards that loop. And I'm going to thread on one of my black beads. And so from here I think this will be much easier. So, oops. You can see I'm just going to pinch it down with my fingers and press this so that it's wrapping on the side of the bead like that. And then again, using my thumbnail to hold it down, I'm wrapping around until it's coming towards me, and then I'm just going to turn my wire so that the opposite side, the side I just did, is now facing me. And I'm going to wrap around again. So there's one rotation. I'm actually going to scooch all this down a little bit more, make room for all these rotations on the other side. And I'm going to wrap, building outward from the little bit that I just did. Wrap it from behind. And I really don't want this wire to sit on top of the one that I had done previously. It's a perfect opportunity to come in with my bent nose pliers and kind of, for lack of a better term, force that wire down into place. There we go. Then I'm going to wrap around again. And honestly, the more we do this, the easier it's going to get as well, which is always good. This first one's always just a little wonky. There we go. I want a full 3 wrap rotation on each bead. Okay, so there's that. So that's my 3rd rotation, and I'm going to test this onto the rest of our pendant. Yeah, I think that's going to look pretty nice, you guys. I'm going to turn that a bit. Yep. Okay, just like that. So instead of snipping the wire though, I'm actually just going to come across from behind. Like this. And I'm going to wrap 1, 2, 3. And that gives me a little bit of space. Like, I'm going to add my other bead on so you'll be able to see. Okay. Now also a tip for if you've got like just a ton of wire, like I have, almost 30 inches of wire here, I'm just going to take this and coil it down on itself because I'm so tired of fighting with it. So it's not pretty, but it'll do. So now that's going to be so much more manageable than, 3 times this length flopping around everywhere. So now from the front, except for now it tangles. Oh goodness, good gravy. So I'm just bending that wire around, wrapping it around the back side, then I'm going to turn it, wrap, and turn. Yeah, if this isn't a million times easier, then I don't know what is. Wrap, and turn, wrap, and turn, and wrap. Again, trying to make sure that the new wire goes behind the other ones. So just wrap and turn. And so I'm going to do that last wrap. That brings it to an even 3 rotations on each side. So that it looks like that. And then I'm going to come behind and do those 3 wraps. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So let's see if we can't get a better view of that without me having to fight tooth and nail with the wire. That makes sense as to why I kept it long. Okay, so I've opened up this back loop a little bit, and I'm going to thread on in the other bead and just feed it around on the coil. Just like that. And so you can see that coiling that I did to get that spacing really helps. Okay, so I'm going to do the first wrap around, pressing that down on my fingernail, then go around and wrap, and around and wrap, and around and wrap, and 1 more on each side, and around. Oops, sorry, I don't mean to go off camera. And wrap. And the last one, again, you want to make it that nice even 3 on both sides, and wrap. So there we are. And I'm going to come across the back like this. And I'm going to wrap 3 times. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Just like that. And I'm going to feed another bead on. So it goes right up to the end like that. And then I'm going to keep it nice and tight. But there's 1 rotation. And come around and wrap, and come around and wrap, and come around and wrap. Hopefully, if I remember to in the editing, I'll put a link on the screen to a tutorial where I've done an in-depth and much larger version of the herringbone weave that we're doing here. That way, if you practice with a larger bead and a larger wire, it really can kind of help. Yeah, so there we are. It's 4. I'm going to do those 3 wraps now, and then I'm going to measure to see if this is enough or if I need another one on this end. Keep tangling my wire up. Again, the struggle is real. Okay. So my wire is kind of come unoriented. There we go. Because I want these herringbone pattern to be perpendicular to the way the loop is oriented. That way whenever we slide our pendant in, just like that. Okay, well it looks like that was plenty. I actually probably could gotten away with just the 3. But I think we'll do it with the 4. Now I'm just going to wrap this around like that. Again, continuing that herringbone pattern. And then get that untangled. I'm going to do another 3. So there's 1, 2, 3. There we go. I think that's looking pretty neat so far. So now that I'm only going to know I'm only going to need 4 of these black beads, I'm going to go ahead and thread all 4 of them on. And travel them around the loop. There we go. I'm going to bring this one down all the way, and I'm going to start wrapping it. So there's one rotation on one side, then one on the other with that wrap. But yeah, be sure to check out that other tutorial because I feel like I'm not doing the best job explaining this because I'm kind of juggling so many different things. But this is definitely a representation of what a person could do with this herringbone wrap that in essence is pretty simple, but you can make it as complicated and difficult as you as you get inspired to. Never underestimate your own ability to make things complicated. Okay, now doing the third one back on the other side. And then I'm going to wrap around behind like this. And then I'm going to wrap those 3 times. So that's 1, and 2, and 3. Then I'm going to feed another bead around. Here we go. And I'm just going to wrap like this. There's 1 full rotation. And there's 2 full rotations. There's 2.5. And there's our third one. And then I'm going to cross across the back, just like that. And I'm going to wrap 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to feed another bead around. Getting so close to being done with this layer, you guys. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Wire wrapping is nothing if not time consuming. And that's my phone on the floor going off because I still haven't picked it up. So there's one full rotation. That last bead was about to pop off anyways, so I'm just going to set that off to the side. And there's 2 full rotations. Well, 1.5. There's 2 full rotations. 2.5 and 3. Cross the back, just like that. And then 1, 2, 3. Let's thread this bead on. And just real quick, let's see if we can do this without getting tangled. There's one. Nope, got tangled. That's okay. There's our 2.5. And there is our 3. Okay, so now as we come down, I'm still going to do the cross across the back. And I'm actually going to start coiling, which are my favorite ways to do that. Is to just go like this. And so it makes a kind of loose coil, but then you can just tighten it down with your fingernails. And it looks like my battery's about to die, so I'm going to go change that out and then I'll be right back. So I do hope that this tutorial was helpful to you all. If you have any questions, ideas, or comments, please leave a comment down below because y'all know I love hearing from you. And also, if you guys enjoy my free tutorials and would like this to support the creation of more of them, please check us out on Patreon. There's links down in the video description below. And for just $1 a month, you can help fund artisan education, participate in all sorts of different giveaways with like VIP access. So like if you become a pledger on Patreon, you don't have to go through and comment or share or do anything else on any of my other giveaways. You just like click and you're done. So that's pretty cool. Also, if you guys have any like specific questions or want to share pictures of what you make, there's also a link down in the video description to my Facebook. So if you guys could find me there and give me a like and maybe share with your friends, I would really appreciate that. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoy. I'll see you guys around and happy crafting. Mwah. Bye.